Ping Box episode 4. My name is Jamie Titchener of Service Manager Magazine.
And I'm Jace Finman of GoodCert.
Jace, seems like you've had a bit of an action-packed day. You've had quite a few interviews and you've attended quite a few presentations and everything like that. Who have you been speaking to today?
Yeah, today was a busy one. It was kind of the culmination of the conference. We had 4 different interviews, really with 5 different people. First interview of the day was with Evan Carlson, who's the VP of Sales for North America at EasyVista. I got to talk to him a little bit about customer delight. Next, I talked to Barclay Ray, who was the lead for the Create, Deliver, and Support book in ITIL 4, which is about to be released. I asked him a little bit about the content of that book, what other new things we can expect in ITIL 4 here in 2020. So that was a pretty good conversation. I also got to talk to 2 people who worked for Axelos, Aaron Smith, who's the Senior Territory Brand Manager for the US, and Claire Cottrell, who is the Senior Product Marketing Manager, who's based in the UK. I got to talk to both of them a little bit about what CIOs need to be aware of in 2020. We talked about some of the trends that they need to be on top of. We also talked about some of the ways that they could foster innovation in an organization, because that's kind of the holy grail of what IT teams are trying to achieve these days. And then Justin Kitchener was the last person that I talked to today. He's the account director at TSO. We talked about 2 really interesting topics. First of all, trying to broaden service management beyond just the confines of IT, and him giving some personal examples of how he as a marketer has benefited from Guidance in Prince 2 and ITIL 4, and how that is kind of a harbinger for other business people who might want to get into it. We also, though, talked about TSO adopting a digital first release schedule, where they're going to be putting out new content in ITIL 4 in beta first and getting feedback from the community about it, and then updating that content once it's been reviewed, sort of putting the paper publications as kind of a second priority, so that people can get the content in their hands as soon as possible, which is kind of a big shift from before. So yeah, lots of good conversations today. I should also add that I got to attend a couple of talks.
Yeah.
They were really fruitful. So Karthik from Fresh Service, who's someone that I interviewed yesterday, he gave a really good presentation about selfish versus selfless service, which I found really entertaining. So selfish service is when you're building a service around your requirements as the provider, the information and the things that you need to be able to do your job. Whereas selfless service is trying to make it much simpler so that it's intuitive and quick and easy for an end user to interact with. And he gave lots of really good examples of customer service emails and stuff that people have shared with him, where things got really complex and out of control. So that was fun. And he also followed kind of a Batman theme. Yeah. And then the second talk that I went to was, and that was Dan at Astound, who presented AI and the Future of Work. This was really fascinating. So he showed us a video that was produced 2 years ago, and it's about a person who wakes up in the morning and has all of these AI inputs that sort of appear up on a heads-up display. When they wake up in the morning, it says, "How would you like to work today? Would you like to work from home, go to the office?" Right? It gives them these choices. Based on their choice, I want to go into the office. It would say, well, how do you want to get there? Do you want to ride a bike? Do you want to, go in a taxi? What do you want to do? And so it was sort of following them around and adjusting their reality based on their preferences. And his message was, this technology exists today. This is not Star Trek, science fiction stuff. IT's job now is to figure out how to integrate all of these technologies and really come up with a unified vision that you can pitch to the business to get them to see this reality as something that they should invest in. Yeah. So I found that really powerful, because he was basically saying that, before we used to wait for the business to hint to us where we need to go and what technologies we need to invest in. But he's saying now we really need to do the opposite. We need to go to the C-suite and get them to see what we envision and get them behind us to invest in it. So yeah, so that was a pretty neat presentation too.
Yeah. So you also saw the Hall of Fame, I believe, with Troy and Kathy and so forth.
That's right. And Brian, yeah. So that was a pretty big unforeseen announcement today. So that's not something that Pink promoted or that they gave us any kind of clue about beforehand. But when they started the keynote address this morning, David Radcliffe came out on the stage and he said, we're making a big announcement. We have an ITSM Hall of Fame that we're launching today. And yeah, two of the winners, Brian and Kathy, were aware that they had been selected and they had a speech ready and everything. But the big surprise was that Troy had not been told that he would be one of the winners. He didn't even know that there was such an award that was going to be bestowed on anyone. So yeah, David had a fun time with that, ribbing Troy a little bit about the fact that he hadn't known, and that when he was trying to sort of wing his speech up there on stage, you know, David said, "Do you need some slides to accompany your speech?" You know, that kind of thing. But yeah, the big surprise for Troy was that his wife was there. So I actually met up with Troy at the evening party that they had tonight. So he had been out on the dance floor and dancing, and I congratulated him for doing such a good job boogieing out there on the dance floor. And I asked him, you know, how did this all unfold today? And he said, before the keynote started, I just texted my wife and she told me that I'd been walking the dog, you know. And then David calls me up on stage and he says, and we have a surprise for you. Your wife is here to see you get this award. And he said he was just flabbergasted because she had just told him, you know, that she was walking the dog. So anyway, that was kind of special because he really had no idea, and it really was a genuine surprise. And you could see his excitement on his face when he got the award. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. But this was a historical event, right? I mean, I was here for the very first Hall of Fame award ceremony.
Well, it sounds like you've had an action-packed time at the conference. We're going to have one more episode of Pink Box just to tie up the last and final day of the conference with the final presentations and everything. So keep your eyes peeled, guys. It's good night from me.
Yep, and good night from me too. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.